Welcome, fourth graders, to our math lesson of the day. The focus of our math lesson today will be, what is a three-act task? By understanding the learning in this lesson, you will be prepared for your mini project of the day. Also, welcome to Edpuzzle. Being on Edpuzzle allows me to stop the video and ask you questions in specific parts of the video. So listen very carefully because a question might show up. You'll also notice that you cannot scroll ahead in the video. You have to watch the entire thing. If you come to a question and you don't know the answer, you have the option of re-watching, and the video will go back to a specific part so you can re-watch just that specific part. You won't have to re-watch the whole video. So let's start with the first question. As you came into Edpuzzle today, you should have put your name. Although it said nickname, I hope you put your real name because your answers will be shared with all of your teachers for us to see if you really understood what's on this lesson. So now's your opportunity to make sure you put your real first and last name, not a nickname, so that we can identify your answers. Answer the question now with your first and last name. All right, let's get started on our lesson today. Our lesson has two big goals. The first goal is that you understand the three parts in a three-act task. That might sound very confusing and unfamiliar to you right now, but hopefully by the end of the lesson, you will understand what is a three-act task and what are the three parts. We will also work on a three-act task together as an example, and we'll solve this math challenge together. So let's move to our first goal. Understand what are the three parts in a three-act task. Now, you have solved three-act tasks before. You've worked on them at school and even in online learning. A three-act task is a math challenge. It's a specific type of math challenge. But when we say a three-act task, we're talking about a math challenge. The only difference between a three-act task and any math challenge is that it has three specific parts. So if I just say, go find out how many candies are in my house, that's a math challenge, but it only has one part. A three-act task will have three different parts. So let's find out what those three parts are. First of all, I want you to try and remember. At school and in online learning, you've solved three-act tasks before. You might remember solving this task. How many knots would fit in this rope? Or this one. How many Skittles fit in this jar? Or maybe you remember solving this one. How many different outfits can fit on this rotating display? And I'm sure you remember this one. How many boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts would we have to buy to equal this giant box? All of those challenges were three-act tasks. You are already solving three-act tasks at school and at home. Now it's your time to answer a question. Which three-act task do you remember working on at school? I showed you some examples, but there were many more that your teachers shared with me and that I remember doing in the Maori class. So see if you can remember. Do you remember solving some of the ones I shared with you? Do you remember any other ones? All right, let's move on. Now, a three-act task, like I've been saying, has three parts. What are those three parts? A three-act task starts with thinking, questioning, and predicting. There really isn't a lot of math involved yet. You are presented with a story, sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's a picture, and you have to think and come up with lots of questions. And you might even make a prediction of what you think is happening. The second act is investigating and calculating. In this part, you receive more information, and then you can use math strategies to try to calculate the answer to the big question. Finally, the third act is the solution. Well, let me move my face a little. Is the solution. So in this act, you're going to find out what the real solution is, see if your prediction is correct, and then you might ask questions for the next investigation. A three-act task reminded me of something that we've been learning about in reading and writing workshop, a story mountain. It's very similar. A story mountain starts with an introduction, right? And then it moves on to the climax, and then it has a solution. Just like in a 3-act task, we have an introduction where we're thinking, we're gathering information. Then there's the really exciting part where you have all the information you need and you're trying to solve the problem. Then there's the solution. Sometimes in stories, this starts over again and it becomes a story cycle. This happens in 3-act tasks too. Because if in Act 3 you think of a new question, you're going to go back to Act 1 and start all over again. Thinking, then calculating, then solving. Now, it's your turn to show what you learned. You're going to answer 2 questions. What is a 3-act task? And what are the 3 parts? What did you understand about the 3 parts of a 3-act task? Remember that if you need to, click rewatch. Go back and watch it again. All right, let me remind you that we had 2 big goals for our lesson. We already worked on the first goal, understanding the 3 parts of a 3-act task, but it might not be very clear for you. That's why we're going to work on the second goal, solving a math challenge called a 3-act task. By working through this math challenge, you're going to see the 3 parts happen, and maybe that will make it more clear for you how a 3-act task challenges you in math thinking. So let's move to our second goal, solve a math challenge called a 3-act task. Before we can solve, get ready. You're going to need paper and pencil to show your thinking to work out a strategy in this math challenge. Whatever you do in your lesson today, make sure that you save it, because as soon as the lesson is over, you're going to be asked to go over to Seesaw and upload your strategy so that I or your teacher can see how did you solve this problem. So if you're using it on a whiteboard, take a picture. If you did it on paper and pencil, save it so you can take a picture. All right, let's get started on our math challenge. Here is Act 1. In Act 1, we're thinking and we're questioning. So I'm going to show you a video, and soon afterwards, you're going to have 2 questions. What did you notice? And what are you wondering? And both of these questions, I expect you to answer as much as you can. Try to notice as many details, and in questioning, try to come up with as many questions as you can. All right, I hope you added a lot of questions and a lot of noticings from that video. Now, we're ready for the next part. I don't know what questions you have at home, so I picked a question that's going to be our main question that all of us are going to be thinking about in this lesson. The main question today is going to be, how long will that fidget spinner spin? I hope you noticed that the video stopped before the fidget spinner stopped. Kind of got cut off. We don't know. How long did it keep going? So that's your main question. Now, in Act 1, we also make a prediction. So, make a prediction. What would be, how long do you think it's going to spin? And then, what do you think would be too long? Like, it definitely isn't going to go as long as this. Or what would be too low? Like, it probably did pass this amount. Get ready and answer. Okay, let's move on to Act 2. In Act 2, it's time for us to investigate, for us to find the answer to our main question, which was, how long did that spinner keep spinning? So I want you to think, what information do you still need to be able to answer this question? What information could you ask from me to give you so that you could solve this answer without giving you the real answer, of course? Okay, I hope that you said something like this. This is the information I'm going to give you. It's the only information I will give you. You will not get more information. So here's the information I can tell you. When the spinner stopped, it had spun 2,160 times total. And in each second, the spinner spinned 8 times. So now that you have that information, you're ready for the next step of Act 2, which is calculating. So to calculate, you need to be thinking of 2 things. What number sentence could you use? What strategy could you use? You're going to see a question now about the number sentence, and then the answer. So you might have to keep this video paused for a long time to calculate your answer. All right, are you ready for Act 3 to see the solution? To see how long did the spinner keep going and going and going? Now remember, you made a prediction. You thought it was going to be a certain amount. You have a calculation. This is what you think it will be based on your math calculations. Now let's find out the true solution and see how long the spinner kept going. Before I show you the video, I want you to know that this video has been fast forwarded, so it's going to look like the spinner's not really spinning, but that's because the video was fast forwarded, so we don't have to watch the whole thing. All right, are you ready? They probably put that dot there so that they could later watch it in slow motion, and every time the dot went around, they saw that that was one spin. The video's now in fast forward and the spinner is still spinning. All right, you can see the final answer. The spinner kept spinning for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Was your prediction correct? The final thing in a 3-act task is to think, now that you know that answer, what new question could lead to your next investigation? Could you make another investigation about different fidget spinners, about different toys, about spinning it in different ways? What could be the next question in this investigation? Okay, everyone, we worked on our 2 big goals, understanding the 3 parts of a 3-act task and solving a math challenge called a 3-act task. When we solved it, we did all 3 parts. We thought about it and had questions. We got information and calculated, and then we found the solution and could continue the investigation with new questions. You're now ready to go add a response on Seesaw. Make sure you saved any of your work that shows your calculations and shows your strategies, because you're going to add it onto Seesaw in your response today. Bye.